Most business websites that I see are missing these core elements. I've just finished building them out for a dentist. It's 2025 and still so many websites are missing high quality about us pages, high quality meet the team pages, and just missing really elementary things. So just a reminder that a beautiful looking website, a beautifully designed website, isn't necessarily a website that progresses through the ranks, generates leads, or I guess optimized for search engines, let alone things like AI language models. So I've just finished through rolling out a high quality about us page for a dentist. Now, these about us pages, I have a particular way that I make them. First things first is you have to understand what Google is looking for. There are plenty of official Google documentation on their rate quality guidelines, and you will begin to learn about EEAT, which is experience, expertise, trust, and authority. And what I personally do is I have a set list of interview questions that I send to the client. I have separate interview questions that I send to the employees. And what they do, they simply answer these questions via an audio message to me. Eventually I get an audio file that is 1 hour, 2 hours long sometimes. The longer it is, the better it is. I then use that to make valuable about us content, about the team. That ends up being like a barrel of text that I can dip into when I need to make service pages, blogs, and that allows me to make unique, flavored content for the website. Because right now what I see happening is there are, as there have always been, millions of generic plumbing, electrical, dental websites that have regurgitated the same stuff about what teeth whitening is. And so this creates a level of humanization, uniqueness about the brand, anything that they've done for the community, their unique perspectives. So a lengthy About Us page has gone live with professional photos of the team in action, team posing, reception, front desk, back desk, all the other desks, all the other rooms and things like that. So professional photographers come out, done the shoot. Now, the Meet the Team page, generally speaking, I build one really powerful About Us page, but in this case, this website has had the Meet the Team page there for about 10 years. So what I've done is I've just made that far more unique. We're basically creating detailed individual team member descriptions, their education, everything is about proving to Google that this business is trustworthy. What better way than to display any certificates, diplomas, degrees, where you studied, what you learned, what your processes are. So catering for the EEAT signals. So when Google compares our website with a competitor which has just stock images and generic rewritten content from other sites, regurgitated, no real value, our site will be selected along with all the other factors like backlinks and reviews and things like that. So this is one of the things. Now, we're keeping Meet the Team, making it more high quality. I speak good England today. Another tweak that I made, there was a lot of font sizes of under size 14. It got as low as 12 on certain fonts. That's quite small. Pretty sure there's documentation out there from Google that they recommend font size from 14 and up. Now every font is a little bit different, but we want the website to be accessible. So very basic UI guidelines mean that font should be a little bit larger. So I increased the font because on the header or the footer or the body of the text, size 12 is too small. I cleaned up the header significantly. I put our priority About Us team pages. I moved out all of the general dental services into a drop down and general cosmetic services into a drop down, whereas before we just had services that took you out to a services page, and that was quite basic, which I'm now going to be rebuilding all of those pages. I'm going to be rewriting all of those pages, updating the template to all of those pages. So a bit of a cleanup on the header, simplified, removed things that just not necessary. There was a button there for promotions, but there were no promotions running. So when they do run, we'll put them back up. Things like news and recent information or something like that just took up way too much space in the header. I just changed that to blog. And then the footer, there was no links, there's no services in the footer, there was no about us in the footer, there were just basically contact details, Facebook links, and book now. So the footer is a very valuable part of any website. So is the header. It sends valuable SEO internal links to important pages of the website. Header is obviously most important, footer is second on that scale, but it sends the Google crawler to the various pages. It also helps any crawler map out the site better when both the header and the footer are mentioning it. I also had a unique description made up, which basically gets to the point. We've been a dentist in suburb for 50 years, 30 years, 100 years. Now, this next thing is something I'm just personally testing with, and after testing it for quite some time, I'm starting to roll this out on main sites. Now, the reasoning for this is what I'm finding with AI models like ChatGPT is we need to make sure that their database is as accurate as it possibly can be about our brand. And so that's where the About Us page is super important, meet the team. But to go one step further, I'm actually creating like a dedicated page that is essentially speaking to the AI language models. Now, when I say speaking, basic plain English, it's basically a page which is written in a particular way. From all of the tests that I have ran, I'm seeing this page get quoted by language models, and I've seen this increase our visibility on things like ChatGPT. Next month it might change. Everything's being flipped on its head every time there's a new update. So this is just what I'm currently doing. Who knows, in a few months I might have these removed. So yeah, I think every website has to have, I think the takeaway here is foundational brand media, making it really clear, removing stock images, real photos, stories from each dentist, the interview questions that I created for them. Let me just pull that up. What made you choose dentistry and what keeps you inspired today? Which patients or cases do you remember the most and why? Tell us about your special moments. What's your signature touch that patients tend to notice? How do you personally help anxious patients feel safe? And there's another 15 or so questions like that. Now, answering those questions will create far more flavored, unique perspective on this website, because every dentist, every employee, every plumber, every electrician, every financial advisor will have their unique why. And that just creates more value for the brand and more value for their brand and more value for the website. And this is where I'll link out to their LinkedIn accounts, any kind of certifications, any other mentions on third-party websites where they have achieved some kind of results, awards that help the community. So I'm just chatting to the particular edits on this site, but they apply to all sites. I guess the question that you should ask yourself is, if ChatGPT answered a question about your industry, what would they know about your business? So if you ask them about your brand, this is how I make sure and force it. Now, a lot here stems from how other websites represent you. This is where I will purchase and build a lot of citations, a lot of directory listicles with consistent information. And this has existed for many years. It's just called a citation. It's a place online where you're being listed and mentioned and your contact details are there. I'm finding that most Aussie sites don't have this. Most Aussie sites are like brochure sites where it might look good, it might look pretty. You know, you one-click Wix websites, one click, one page. Hope that helps, and happy deploying EEAT signal.